facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, and everyone is fascinating, especially you. I'm so glad you're here with us today. We're on this incredible Win-Win Women platform. We're on the Poditize and actually going global on these streaming services. And this is a fun platform. And this, you may not have ever heard of Win-Win Women before now, but it is, you will be hearing of it and from it. We'll be doing global events around the world for International Women's Day next year. And, it's going to be something. So thanks for joining us today. At the end, I'm going to have a wonderful conversation with Alexandra Van Horn here, but at the end, about 30 minutes or so, we'll actually open it up to conversation. If anyone wants to come in and join us live and have a conversation, it would be awesome. We'll have you mute and off video until then, and then we'll invite you to unmute. So that's the schedule. And as you know, I always say as you know, but a lot of people may not know, I always start my my show with a mini vacation, a 22-second mini meditation. And it's to help me get settled and grounded. It's to help you get settled and grounded. It's a tiny little 7 seconds in of breathing in calm and holding for 4 seconds and then breathing out gratitude. And doesn't take long, but you can use it often throughout the day. And this crazy world we're in right now, it's probably not a bad idea. So join me as we take a little breath, a mini meditation, mini vacation, retreat, whatever. So here we go. We're going to breathe in calm for 7 seconds. Hold. Release. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Don't you feel better? I know I do. So anyway, so great to have you here with us. I'm so excited to actually, get to interview and talk with Alexandra Van Horn, an incredible overcomer, and she and I have such similar messages about making a difference, helping people live a life of complete peace. Who doesn't want that, right? A life that you can stay out of the upset. Right. And doesn't that make sense? So I know you're in Florida, right, Alexandra? So would you just kind of tell me a little bit about who you are, and then we'll talk about what you do.
Okay, sure. So my title would be called Transformational Life Coach. I'm a certified dream builder coach and life mastery consultant with the Brave Thinking Institute. Also an ordained interfaith minister, which happened in the early 90s after I was widowed with 3 little boys. So that's part of my story and really what I do now is to help others get through their day. Because, when I was widowed and my sons were 4, 6, and 8, it was like the day was like, okay, how do we get through the day? Because initially it's just overwhelmed. How do you get through it? And I thought, okay, the 3 most important things is, okay, do we have food in the fridge for today to get through the meals? Yeah. Okay, we're good. Do we have reasonably clean clothes for today? Yeah. Okay, we're good. And is the rent or mortgage paid for the month, and then anything else I got done, I considered gravy, so you have to kind of, this expression, you got to pick your battles, right? So those 3 things, and then anything else I got done, great, so if the laundry was, I was on top of the laundry, or the house was organized, even better. But I would just learned how to be gentle with myself with things like that. And so I was ordained in 95, and then I'd been teaching the principles or living the principles. And obviously my sons were little, so I was full-time mom, but I used the principles that I share now about mindset and making choices. And I think the biggest thing for me was, and this was happened in the 80s, I had what I experienced a calling, because I was really getting into prayer and meditation, because married my high school sweetheart. And he was, after we had built a house together, I had 3 sons, and he was just working longer and longer hours. And it was really hard for both of us. He was committed to being a super provider. I was committed to being super mom, and then we started pulling apart that way. So it was really hard. So I really dug into prayer and meditation to try to figure out, to work through the challenges and the pain and the disappointment of how things were going. And then in 1988, I had what I consider a calling, where I just saw that I was getting answers. I would pray and I'd get an answer, and and it would be like, whoa. So it was really a beautiful experience, because, we look like we start here and we end at our toes and our fingertips. That is so not true. We're children of God. God is moving through us at all times. And of course, we have to attune to it. We have choice. But there was such a profound, life-changing experience. And that's why I just started sharing about it. And so some of the things that I came upon over the years, but first of all, the Course in Miracles was instrumental in my life. And one of the messages in that that's helped a lot is when you're experiencing a situation, or you see a situation that could be upsetting, one of the teachings in that is, I could see peace instead of this, which gives you that opportunity to raise your vision to another level. And that's been profound for me over the years. And it doesn't mean, you just don't take action. If somebody is hurt, you just, don't look above the battlefield. No, you do what you can, what's appropriate in that moment.
Are you familiar with Michael Singer? I ran across him just this year, which was astounding to me, as much personal development I've done over the years. But if you hone down onto the core of who he seems to be, and his message is, something happens, and I call upset draws upset. So when you get upset and you keep, you hit, you're running late, then you hit the tire, curb, and then you got to get an alignment. And then, everything builds upset draws upset. So when something happens, which it does, if you can take that moment, relax, release, let it go, because if it's already happened, then nothing you can do to change that, right? So relax, release, let it go. And then you can actually handle the situation from a much calmer perspective. I mean, here you are, okay, somebody just cut me off, I'm mad, relax, release, let it go, and go. They probably need to go to the bathroom more than I do, or something.
Rush into the hospital. Right? You never know what's going on.
You don't know. And to take it personally on something like that just has already happened, it's a little bit insane that we think that what's happening to us right now, after billions and billions of years and billions of incidents over the trillions and of incidents, if your great grandparents hadn't met because of the rain and the storm, and you wouldn't care. It's a miracle when we stop to think about it.
Right.
That you and I can have this conversation right now, and any infinite number of things from Let There Be Light until now could have changed that.
Exactly.
Any one little decision somebody made that, turned left instead of right, they wouldn't have met your grandmother.
Exactly.
Right. So anyway, I get off on that because it seems like we are not taught that. I don't feel like we're taught that. The only place we have is where we are right this second. We can't change anything that in the past, not even last second, not last generation, but it gives us an opportunity to have the choice to change the next step.
Exactly.
And you ran across all that early on, and probably about the time, I don't think I was I was still very fundamental mindset early in the 80s, but easing my way out of that a while ago because I don't think God has a box. Anyway.
That's so funny that you say that too, because I used to say that. I said, you can't put God in a box, and
He doesn't have one. No.
traditional religion attempts to put God in a box,
And is very divisive of everyone. And if God is love, he can't be not love. And that's where I think you and I are very similar. He can't be not love. He is love,
Right.
if he is. And so can I ask you a little personal about what you asked? So you were widowed with 3 young sons. Was that and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but was it illness or was
Oh,
it
okay.
accident?
Yeah.
Or,
He had colon and liver cancer.
oh,
He had, and I have my story about why this or that. And, maybe it was just supposed to be the way it went, who knows? But he worked super long hours, 3 hours of sleep, on and on and on. And, he's passing blood for a while. And then in August, and whenever he went away, I would always, because he traveled, he was in clinical research. And whenever he went away, I would pick something in the house, a project to work on, change a light fixture, get a bedroom painted, something. So he was away in Switzerland for this last trip. And he came home and usually he'd go, oh, wow. I'd show him what I did. It was like this thing. And I showed him our bedroom. I had the bedroom redone. And he's like, oh, nice. And I said, wow, that's not like you. And he said, well, I passed a lot of blood this time. And, for the umpteenth time, I said to him, go to the doctor, because it wasn't, a new thing. And I kept on saying, maybe he was afraid to go. Anyways, long story short, he was operated on in August and he passed in December of 91. And yeah, so it was a journey. And I remember when the surgeon was explaining the details with me, when he called me into the special waiting room after he had done the surgery, attempted to do the surgery, I'll say, and he just laid it on the line like it, he said, we can try a few rounds of chemo, but, so, and my thinking was, why should he suffer if it is to be, let it go quickly? Because, so he took, like he had a couple rounds of chemo and then he passed in December. And I was angry, obviously I was angry, like, he should have done this, he should have done that. I should have done this. I didn't say this. I should have, if I had left him when he was working those long hours, maybe he would have realized and not, and, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But
and when we learn to deal with what's so, because I think that's another way that I like to say it, what's so, let's deal with what's so. And because we can't change any of those other things, so shoulda, coulda, woulda is a pretty much wasted effort.
Exactly. And our minds, and especially since, and I blame even the school system, it's like we're taught that way, figure it out, how did we get to this number in math? And, so everything is analytical. So we're taught to be analytical all along. And then sometimes analytical just doesn't work. You just have to accept,
That must have been incredibly hard. And so with 3 young sons and you become an unexpected young widow, single mom. And I love what you said. You focused on the 3 basic things that you needed to get through each and every day, which was sometimes probably all you could consider.
Right.
But then, so how did the boys turn out? Did they all react differently or?
Yeah, I remember my middle son saying when I told him, and he was 6. And I remember when we knew, I said, well, daddy's not coming home now. He I don't know what I said, died or passed away. I don't know what word I used. And my middle son said, well, are we going to get a new daddy? That was his, like, are we getting a replacement? And I said, well, if we need one, God will send us one, so he seemed to accept that answer. And, I shopped, but, didn't find any suitable replacements. So,
I'm sure there's still some time, and I'm kind of, I like I need to figure out who I am and what I want to do when I grow up. And when
Exactly.
I'm clear on that, clearer, and here I'll be 70 this year. So I'm not in any rush if there's somebody that shows up.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. And it would have to be completely organic because I don't have one inkling to go digging around looking for somebody out, I'd
Yeah.
have to be, doing something I love to do and somebody else doing that they love to do. And maybe that would make
That's
it
how
work.
I think of it. That's how I think of it. Yeah, because I dabbled with some of the, the apps and everything, and, definitely you really can't trust some of the profiles,
Well, and I know many, many people who have actually found wonderful relationships. So it's not
Yeah,
all or nothing, but it's just not for me. I'll just
right.
say it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I got too much to do.
That's how I feel. It's like, I don't want anybody interrupting what I got going on. One of the things I do think that was like, okay, if there was someone that was in alignment with the work that I'm doing, and we could be like a really good power team, that's another scenario, but
Absolutely. And when you want to, I back at one time I did finally make a list of what, I'd never made a list. I was like, what would I want? But it was really the top three was God loves people.
Yeah.
Mutual partnership.
Yeah.
Mutual partnership, which we continue to raise each other's dreams and visions and the one person I did not have that capacity. So it's like, why I love me. I love life. I love, making a difference wherever I can. So you do too. And so
and I don't want to have to compromise any time with them. I don't want to have to check in with someone and like, no.
get permission and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So mutual partnership, and I believe that there's possibility of soulmates and all that kind of stuff. And it may be, but I don't care. I'm not in a rush.
Right.
And so your business then, so you've evolved, you've gone through ministry, you've gone through coaching, you're going through all these different things. So you're directly doing now more direct coaching, one-on-one coaching. What is it called again?
Yeah.
Live well, live
well long coaches.
long.
Yeah, live well long coach. Yeah. And right. So my goal is the one-on-one coaching. That's the bread and butter part, as well as doing speaking. I have a vision of speaking to as many people as possible to get the message out about the power of our words and how we can change our thoughts, the mindset, different ways we can shift our mindset when things are not going the way we expected or anticipated, and also how to shift our mindset to raise ourselves up to better results than what we have today or had yesterday.
How do you find your clients? What is your main focus right now? What are you
My
enjoying?
main focus is people that are at a sort of a crossroads, or like say maybe somebody who is recently retired, or I use the term suddenly single, maybe they're divorced or widowed, or, and they need to create what's next, but they just kind of need the wind at their back, someone like a good sounding board to help them move forward. And, because oftentimes, the people that we are surrounded by are those that know us from the past. So they already have a preconceived notion of who we are, what we could accomplish, what's good for us, what's not, everybody's got their own mindset about things. And yet if someone wants to they have this dream that they haven't lived out yet, and they just want to accomplish that, the people around them may not necessarily be the best people to support them in reaching their dreams.
100%. 100%. So that's exactly, and your market's the same, very similar to mine. I mean, I want people, I like the suddenly single, or I like this, is this all there is? Here I am. I retired 34-year career 15 years ago, but and it's like, now what?
still have a
what?
life, right?
And I have something in my heart I want to share. I want to, I've got a message. I've got something to serve and to lift fellow man. And right now, as we all recognize, it feels like chaos, in our world. There doesn't seem very much normal. I think when you and I were raised, it was a little bit more, there was some at least structure that were more normal. And I feel like that has kind of gone out the window. And that's not all bad, but it is different.
It's different. Yeah, I think everyone pretty much feels a little unsettled. I mean, even like just with lockdown and the pandemic is, we were all kind of shaken to our core with, can't go here, can't congregate, that was a rough thing to go through. And I think there's some trauma that everybody is kind of just carrying around and still trying to, move forward. And that needs to be looked at. I think there's a grief process that we all need to acknowledge because things have shifted, even though, lockdown is over and people are going out and then people are saying, well, COVID's not behind us and things, so things are different. And so it's important to have these tools to help with, if there's isolation or loneliness or concern about the future. Like, what
I call it unsteady times, our goal is to help folks through these unsteady times because our circumstances don't define us, although a lot of people allow them to,
right.
So our circumstances are not who we are. And so I know that I'm sure is inclusive in your message as well. I mean, out there, if you can, take a deep breath and be at peace and have a centeredness to take, the next step, you can deal with these things a lot better, and you can start recognizing there is a way to be peaceful and to not be complaining and to not be some of the really offended all the time, and to not, all of that is superficial and it's external, right?
Right, exactly. And it's so important to develop that, our own personal, I'll use the term mind control, but controlling our own minds, like so that we don't, spiral negatively and look for, like the three things that I always teach is gratitude, forgiveness, and then vision, having a vision or goals and dreams to move forward. And one of the picture I like to use to help people remember it is like a sailboat. And so the sail on the ship is gratitude. When you have a practice of gratitude, it lifts you. You can't be grateful and angry at the same time. It's like your mind can't hold both of those thoughts. So we have that, and I like to say like a morning gratitude practice, and even one before bed, like, what am I grateful for? And it could be, as simple as my warm slippers or the roof over my head or something, big fancy thing. But so the gratitude uplifts our mind. And then there's a saying, which is true, where attention goes, energy flows. So the more we're grateful, the more things we find to be grateful for. So it just lifts us. So I think of the sail on a ship. And then I think of forgiveness as the pulling up the anchor. Because then when you forgive, you're free. When you forgive, you're free. So, and that, there's a whole conversation around forgiveness. And really I look at it as like you said, what is, accepting what is there's a saying that says to forgive, one must first have judged. So it's like, the sooner we get to acceptance of what is, then, we've pulled up the anchor, we've released. Mark Twain has a quote that I love, and it's, forgiveness is the scent a violet leaves on the heel that has crushed it.
Oh.
So in that instant that the violet is crushed, the fragrance is emitted, he was fantastic.
I love that. And so this is another synchronicity, I guess, in our message, because I've said, first of all, gratitude is the highest emotion you can have. I mean, and it will, if I wake up in the night and go, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Not thinking about what I'm thankful for, but that is my mantra. And it just keeps the energies
Yes.
flowing higher. And then I mean, it's like, I had this whole vision of a meme that I haven't done yet, but it's like, God is love. And if you love God and you love yourself and you love others, it requires gratitude
Mm-hmm.
and forgiveness. So gratitude is the key.
Yeah.
But forgiveness is the that lifting the anchor. I love that analogy.
Right. And then the visions, goals, and dreams would be like the rudder, with direction,
So how can you do that? Can you give an example of someone? What would you say to someone that just, yeah, but that's not reality, or, you hear that a lot. Oh, you're optimistic.
Right.
I say this, I am outrageously optimistic that that the world is getting better, because honestly, if I look that way, mine is.
Absolutely.
So how can you encourage someone to get, that's not reality? Well, it's my reality.
Right. The thing is too, it's like, I also believe that, we can't change anyone specifically if they really are interested. Like if they're saying that's not reality, it's like they're really not open, or that I say, okay, God, send me somebody that I can help, like somebody who's open and, like curious, like
drop a few drops of water or seeds, but if they're not, if they aren't convinced. I mean, we know it's been scientifically proven that, you complaining over and over builds a rut, right? And I mean, you have to really take exercise or do some exercises to break that habit of negative.
Right. And it's even been proven scientifically that gratitude actually increases the serotonin in our brain, so it's like,
I know you're talking Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Dr. Dispenza.
Right?
I love those guys.
All of them, right?
Got the placebo effect over there. I mean, an untethered soul. I mean, their resources are there.
Mm-hmm.
There are incredible resources out here. And your job, my job, is to guide people that are open.
Right.
Something's not working. What can I do differently?
Right.
So the resources are incredible, and the encouragement is also. And I actually just yesterday, I was talking to a friend, called me. She goes, I'm kind of in a funk. I'm kind of in a, I don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, you're in analysis paralysis. What if we had fun? What if you took these, she was trying to make a decision, took these things, and ultimately it doesn't really matter, right? Some of the things just don't matter in the big scheme of things, trying to find a title or something.
Right.
And I was like, cut them up, draw 5 of them out, put lay them out, decide, make a decision, and have fun, make it a game.
Right. That's so true. Like, absolutely. One of the key questions that I ask clients is, what would you love? Because so much of our life has not been about what would you love. It's been, go to school, do your homework, get the degree, get the best grades you can get, whatever it is, the instructions to just do well, get a good job. That's the first 20, 30, 40 years of our lives, right? If we ask the question, what would you love? It's like, oh, wow. It just takes it right here. And it's like, it can be something simple. Like, if someone's in a funk, it could be just something simple. Like, who would you love to have for dinner tonight? Like, what would be like the best meal tonight? So keep it like right here, and keep it sensational as far as the taste and everything. Because many of us, we've not been told that self-care and self-love, besides brushing our teeth and taking our daily shower, etc., self-love and self-care is so important.
And it's not selfish.
Exactly.
What selfish is taking care of self. And so I think we've not been taught that. I wasn't taught that. Right. But self, when you become self involved or self-centered, that's a different story. But if you don't take care of yourself, and I have an analogy that I love, and it's, you got the cup and saucer. And if anybody younger than us doesn't know what a saucer is, it's what the
Yeah,
cup.
Good point there.
Get your latte in the mug.
Right.
But I love when I heard this decades ago, I believe, but pour the cup full and till overflowing, and then serve out of the saucer. So the cup, you've got to keep your cup full so that you have the overflow to serve.
I like that.
Isn't that sweet?
It is
It's
good.
very sweet.
Wow.
And so I want to, okay, so it's 30 minutes already. I can't even believe it. It goes like
Wow.
super
Yeah.
fast. So how do people find you, and how can we keep this conversation going for people that are, ready to just make a better life for themselves?
Okay, awesome. So I have two things that they can do. First of all, my website is AVH, those are my initials, Alexandra Van Horn, avhcoaching.com. And then they could go to that website, and there's a button there where it says book a session, and you can book a free 30-minute session. And then also, if they just want, to get a little bit of information, they can put in avhcoaching.com/hacks, HACKS, and they will get a document of 10 mindset hacks for challenging times. So,
Nice. I know you're all over Facebook, LinkedIn, and we'll, hopefully get the, at least some of that out
Great.
there. Also, your quote. Okay, so I always like to have somebody say their favorite quote or what they're known for, and I know you've got one or two, right?
Right. So one that I say that I coined it a long time ago, and I because I thought of it, now maybe somebody else wrote it too, but and that is, everyone is at their own frontier. So, if we're tempted to judge someone, whatever, it's like, they're at their frontier, so it just helps to just realize they're doing their absolute best from what they've had in life up to this moment, even if we look at it and say, are they crazy? So that's one. So everyone's at their own frontier. And the other one is, if God loves this person, which is the assumption that God loves all of us, if God loves this person, like, what's my problem with them? What's my issue? It's like, oh, yeah.
The way I say, the harder they are to love, the more they need it. God,
right. There you go. Right.
So if God loves them, I believe that there's no one that God doesn't love. So, and I believe He's a part of all of us, and they don't love themselves enough to treat others well. And that's a sad state.
And it could be from their upbringing too, that they just never got that certain love. So, it's an evolution.
And so our job is to love them anyway. And so I have multiple sayings in this book, Candy Bar Hugs. It's like everybody deserves so unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries. I would never.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we want to go there. I don't have it right up, but let me go ahead and close out this portion of the show, and then whoever is on here, we'll open you up to have a conversation. You can ask questions, you can turn on your video and your microphone, and let me just go ahead and just say that, what I like to say towards the end is like, everybody, you're perfect exactly who and where you are. Nothing you can do to make yourself be loved more or less by God or me. Just be. I always want to just end with, I love you, be blessed, and choose joy. Well, hi, Violet. How did you find out about the show here?
Hi, I am a host.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. I haven't had a lot of experience with the guests, so if the other person wants to come on, and but I'm grateful for you to join us. What is the name of your show?
Create a Life You Love, the Blueprint. So when Alexandra, is that?
Alexandra. Yeah.
Alexandra.
Yes.
When you were talking about love, well, there was so much, John Dispenser. Everything is just right in the area that I talk about. That's why I logged in. Right. And for the reason. But anyway, also, when you said that, my show is called Create a Life You Love. And when I wrote a book, and that's the title of the book as well. So when I wrote that, the title, I got a lot of pushback. People were like, create a life you love. And I kept hearing create a life you want. Like
Right.
you say, well, create a life you want, because I think people are afraid of love. Like they don't believe that they can have something they love. So that was so powerful what you said, you know, my
Yeah.
cat. So anyway, yeah. And then finally what I, with love, I kind of summed it up, because it's Create a Life You Love. It's a personal story that why I wrote the book, but it's actually also, I wrote a blueprint for others. But love, I said it's basically to live on vision every day. Live on your vision every day, because that's when you love yourself and you're living on your vision every day, it makes you happy. And then you can love your neighbor, you can love yourself, you love yourself. Do you understand? And the love just expands.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, but I love what you said. That is so true. I couldn't believe it when I heard you say that.
I love that you have an acronym for the word love. That's
Yeah.
a very empowering acronym.
Yeah, and it came literally after I wrote the book, because I just kept, actually when I started the show, that's when it came to me, so I was like, yeah, and listening to John Dispenza, like you were saying, right? And having a gratitude mindset, knowing that those things are a practice every day, because
Right.
It's a muscle. And I think people that don't, this is just reality, and who cares? And
Yeah.
I don't
They
care.
don't realize how powerful they are. with their-
Yeah. And it's wonderful. I feel like there's a lot of us, especially in the Win-Win Women community with the show hosts, a lot of us have that mindset of just lifting each other up and encouragement. And don't you feel like that is the case?
Yeah, I do.
When is your show?
My show is Thursdays at 2:00. So I was
What time zone?
Oh, Pacific. This is Pacific.
Well, I'm Central Time, and she's
Okay.
Eastern Time, so we always
Okay.
have to say the time zone because
Right,
it's
we do.
global.
Yeah, I have on there Pacific. So
Yeah.
I'm West Coast. I'm in California.
That's
So,
great. 2,
yeah.
3, so 4:00 our time, or my time, 5:00 your time, I guess, Alexandra too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was actually not really going around. I know Lori Rope. That's how I became a part of Win-Win Women, through her 2 years ago. But actually, I just started my show in July. Can you believe it? But I had to, everything was timing. My book wasn't even done at the time, so I didn't even know what the title was. It was just a divine connection. And so so that's basically how it started. So I met a few, and then I have my show's tomorrow, and I was looking for a guest host. So Lori was like connecting me with some women that were believers. Not that,
that's not the only criteria,
right.
but
Right.
I would say faith, people of faith.
Faith. Yeah. Because you wanted along the same lines. And then I saw your show and I was like, wow.
I'm honored, because it's a lot for there's a lot of shows out there, and I'm very honored that, and we don't know where it's going. It doesn't, and honestly, I don't have any attachment to where it's going. I have attachment to just doing the daily effort, right? The showing up and doing the weekly effort, I guess, on this particular thing. So I am encouraging Alexandra to consider being a show host. I think she's got what it takes, and maybe we'll have a conversation around that too. It's kind of fun.
It was the practice. Like I said, I'm looking for a guest host tomorrow.
A guest host or a guest?
Someone to actually host my show.
Oh, because you're not going to be there?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah.
What time is it?
2 p.m. Pacific. So you're Eastern?
Well, you probably should So if she's going to become a show host, she could certainly, but she probably needs it. You probably need a show. I would think that you would need a show host to have that.
You don't have to have a show. It doesn't have to be a show host.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh, well, maybe she can have a practice run at it then.
Ooh, what time? It's 2:00.
So it's
Pacific,
5 o'clock your
5
time.
nighttime,
Thursday.
Thursday, that's the 7th, that's tomorrow. I could. I have a commitment at 6:00, but I mean, 6:00 Eastern, so 3:00 your time. So it goes for about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, you
It
can.
has to cut off at just before, before the hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it also can cut off. You can log out at 2:30
Mhm.
if there's no, you know what I mean, if you don't have a audience.
Right.
But yeah, I normally stop my content around 2:25, 2:30, and
Mhm.
I stop my recording. I don't record anymore.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
all do it differently, and I have, I'm just trying to fill out which works better for me. So
You keep recording?
right now, I think we did keep recording. I did ask Alexandra to actually be a co-host and stop the recording, but I kept it going. And on, I think it's October 17th, all this show comes out as a podcast on Global Podetize, puts it out as a podcast and a blog. So
Oh, all the shows?
my shows, I've partnered with Podetize, and they build a blog and a podcast.
I need to connect with you with that.
I love
'Cause-
that. I love that you can go to charlaanderson.com and look under the media tab and find podcast and find
Okay, spell that for me.
CHARLA
CHARLA
Anderson.com.
ANDERSON.
Yeah, it's down. It's on my name on the
Yeah,
on the
right.
Zoom.
your
It's
show.
on the Zoom at the bottom. So charlaanderson.com, and under the media tab, it has what they're doing with my shows. They're rolling out to a week until we get caught up and then in November, when I'm caught up with
Right.
because it started after my show, which I started my show in March. So
Okay.
this is 27. She's number 27. What a fun conversation, though, to have an invitation to be a host and practice. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
That's very exciting to me. And so do you have it promoted? How do you promote it, Violet?
I promote on my Facebook page to, Facebook, Instagram right now. I message individuals. I'm not basically right now sending out emails at this time. I will get there. Yeah. So I do have constant contact email list. I'm building my email list. However, I didn't want anything to hold me back. I was like, I actually started, I go to a studio, actually, Hera Hub,
Nice.
share workspace for women, and they actually did an article on me.
Oh,
So
nice.
they did an article on me. So that was encouraging. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. I decided not to do it from home because that was holding up, because I want things to look a certain way. And I was led to that location. And now I'm an ambassador for that location as well. And it's another organization, a business organization for women.
Nice.
So yeah. So that's another connection. So there, there you have it. I don't know, this may be my 8th show. I had a guest. Last week was my first guest that I had. And I have people lining up to be guests. And I just basically share, I have a book, like I said, Create a Life You Love. It's on Amazon.
Uh-huh.
However, just basically what you spoke about love
Mhm.
is a lot. Just
That's cool.
The main problem, like even when you think about it, like the horrendous things that we hear about in the news that, happen here and there in our world, it's because there's this inner belief that they're not loved, and they just act out and cause harm. And it's really, it's heartbreaking, because it's just that they haven't realized the love within them or that they're loved. And it's,
Well, that's what earlier, they don't love themselves enough. Bullies, I tell my grandkids, bullies, they don't love themselves enough to know how to treat other people. They're victims too, only we don't want we don't want abuse at all, but
Right.
to understand that we don't have to be offended by every single thing
right.
is a little, to me, would strengthen some of that instead of being the victim of all these things going on. What if they needed a friend? Just give them food for thought, critical thinking skills. What if that person, I don't have to take it personally. The 4 Agreements is the number 1 book I recommend more than anything else.
Yeah, I
And
like
it's
that. I read that
it's
book.
like,
Very good.
yeah,
But how
so
about if
why
people
don't
don't
take it
get- If
personally.
people don't get to that information, that's the thing. Like I read the 4 Agreement. I was teaching years ago as a teacher. I mean, my students now they're adults. However, I had a combo class and I would read part of the 4 Agreements to them
Right.
daily, and they wind up telling me during the 4 Agreements, they were like, why are you a teacher? What are you doing here? You need to be out there sharing this information with the world,
That's
you
great.
know? And this was like practically almost 20 years ago. And look at what's happening now. It's just,
The world needs a lot of people like us to shout
yes.
from the mountaintops to all who will hear it. Right.
And who are ready to receive,
Listen.
certainly, and dropping seeds otherwise. So,
Yeah.
because kindness, it doesn't take much to make a difference. My little book, it doesn't.
I love your book. Yeah. The candy bar hugs. I love that.
Did you get it? You did. You wrote an
I
ad.
did.
You did. You
I
ordered it,
wrote a
and
review.
you wrote a review on Amazon. That was so nice and so
Yeah.
that
So
was when it was trying to go bestseller back in July, and even though it's been out for 5 years, so
correct.
but I relaunched it. So,
Oh.
well, this is amazing. So we want to make sure that everybody has everybody's information. Hey guys, this has been a great time on the Charla Anderson Show, Collector and Connector of Fascinating People. Can't wait to see you again next week. And don't always remember to choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show, encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.